right, guys, welcome to another episode of Bolt Bros.
Bolt Bros!
Bolt Bros! We have a controversial episode today to discuss with you. Was the Rams Super Bowl win bought?
We'll talk about that a little bit more.
Bolt Bros!
Bolt Bros!
Let's go.
Nice.
It really is an interesting thing to think about, right? I know, look, I'm going to start off by saying this. The refs, I felt like, really got a lot of heat this last year across the board in the NFL. I can think of a number of games that the Chargers had that the refs definitely affected the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, one specifically I can immediately think about was the Chargers-Cowboys game. That was garbage. I mean, I don't know how many illegal motion calls were brought back.
Yeah.
Touchdowns were reversed. It seemed ridiculous.
Right.
And another one, right off the top of my head, Chargers-Raiders game with Harris in the end zone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, okay. So, but here's my thought, though. And that's all past news. But it's not what you think, it's what you can prove.
True.
So,
Yep.
What can you prove that the Raiders bought a Super Bowl championship?
You mean the Rams? The
Yeah.
Rams bought.
Hey, hold on.
Hey.
All right,
Let me just say, the Raiders ain't buying no more. The Raiders ain't buying nothing.
let's redo that.
Redo.
The Rams
Let's go.
bought
Take two.
a Super Bowl championship. No, but let's talk about it for a little bit. James,
Okay.
let's go to you first.
Yeah.
What's your thought?
Well, first off, I mean, we might sound like conspiracy theorists, but let's go ahead and put this going on here. Yep.
Wait.
There we go.
Man, I don't know. I just got a hat. What are you guys doing there, Cal? I can't even see it.
It's my bag of tacos here.
Oh, it's big taco.
Look at there you go. There you go.
You can't really see
It looks
it,
all
though.
blurred out.
It's all blurred out. I gotta be closer. All right.
But we sound like some tinfoil hat wearing people over here. But the thing about it is, it's interesting. So and I wasn't even aware of this until the Super Bowl when they showed everybody who made the Hall of Fame. But how Dick Vermeil basically got put into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And the same year that the Rams basically won a Super Bowl. Now, Dick Vermeil is the other coach that actually won a Super Bowl with Kurt Warner. And you start thinking about that, and you're like, that's kind of a really odd timing to be able to have Dick Vermeil come into the Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at that a little bit more, maybe than I should, but maybe I'm a little bit more of a tinfoil conspiracy theorist. That's something to think about. I mean, for him to get that acknowledgement being in the SoFi Stadium for the Super Bowl, that also the Rams ended up winning. I don't know. Weird occurrence? Who knows? But what do you think, Kyle? Anything else that you can kind of point out to think about the Super Bowl was bought by them?
Well, I mean, let's just face the facts. They were about $20 million over budget on their players for the entire year. And they paid for a $5 billion stadium to come to LA. So my argument is 1,000% money. Follow the money. They put a ton of money into this, like everything. And I honestly believe that there is no way in hell someone's going to spend $5 billion on a stadium without some kind of guarantees, And what does that cost the NFL? Nothing to give the Rams a Super Bowl. Nothing. So like, okay, fine. Yeah, well, we want a new stadium in LA. Who's going to do it? So they talked to Robert Kroenke, something like that. I don't know how to spell it. Robert Cornhole? Robert Cornhole? Yeah. I like that. I like that name better. So, yeah, that's right. So yeah, he put so much money into that stadium, and of course, like all those kind of things combined, those are my initial thoughts. Why 100% I believe that the Rams bought that Super Bowl, and this thing was rigged, straight up.
Yes.
An interesting statistic. I don't know if you know about this or not. Odell Beckham Jr. He was paid in Bitcoin.
Yep.
I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I knew that one. That's pretty good.
Bitcoin's dropping.
Yeah.
And essentially, he got paid nothing to play for football because he got his contract at like $69,000 of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's dropped. Agent fees, done deal.
But half that now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like nothing. Eric Weddle, another great example, right? He's done. He's retired. He got his championship. It's almost too many things aligned to make this work.
Yeah.
And then, okay, hey, but don't get me wrong. Now you got to give them props. This was their year. They put a team together.
Yeah.
And they pushed.
Yeah.
And they knew, hey, look, we got to go after this right now. This is our year. We got to go for it. And I'll tell you right now, they're going to struggle next year. I don't think they're going to be the same team next year. I think they'll be okay.
Definitely not.
Yep.
Of course, they're in the NFC, which is like a not very competitive division in my opinion, right? The AFC is way more competitive.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you sit back and say, okay, well, they had their shot. They had their 15 minutes of fame, so let's see what happens. But
exactly,
they made it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such a strange thing. I mean, even going back to the game for the Super Bowl and I remember watching the Super Bowl and sitting there thinking, man, this game is really clean and the refs are really letting the players play.
Mm-hmm.
They did not.
That was really, really odd because I felt like, once again, going back to your point, I felt like there was a lot of calls. And once again, is it the Chargers' curse, luck, whatever it is, where it's just timely penalties that happen at the wrong time of the game? And we're just kind of conditioned to be able to see those happen to us all the time. But then there was a swing kind of late in the game, where calls started favoring the Rams a little bit, and at the most critical time of the game. And the one that first comes up is that Logan Wilson on the Bengals 10-yard line, where he batted the ball down clean as could be play.
So clean.
There was no tugging. There was touching of his body, not tugging, not holding anything, and batted that ball down on a 3rd and 10. And then they called him he was holding him, basically.
Yeah.
And gave him a fresh set of downs, basically at the 2-yard line, and there you go. That was pretty much a wrap at that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm pointing to one point there. And, I mean, you could even go back to the long touchdown that they had the first play after the halftime for the Bengals that favored them, because I think Jalen Ramsey basically got a face mask, or basically got a face mask call that should have been called to make that 75-yard touchdown happen. But once again, I'm just saying, these penalties ended up favoring the Rams at the right time to be able to allow them to win the game.
Exactly correct.
It makes you think a lot about like how much the refs have control of the game and how much the NFL can control a game.
Yeah.
And they could easily, somebody in New York could say, hey, by the way, we need to make sure this happens. Make sure you do this and that and that. And you have no way to go against that at all.
Yeah.
And you have to take whatever calls it could be.
Yeah.
And,
and again, it just keeps going back to it's not what you think, it's what you can prove, and there ain't no way you can prove that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, let's look at the Patriots for a little while. Deflate gate, right?
Yeah.
They deflated the balls. Tom Brady, best of all time. He has his footballs the way he wants them, right? Yep. And again, what's the whole conversation with Bill Belichick? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's in my mind, it's sad but true to think about that, right?
Yeah.
When you think about the stars aligning for them to win that Super Bowl, they brought in people, they brought people out of retirement, paid somebody in Bitcoin, said, great, hop on the field, let's make it happen.
Yep.
The stars align for a bit of a conspiracy theory conversation. Again, this is a discussion, guys. And by the way, just one last thought that I want to say specifically before I pass to anybody else, so I specifically want to talk more about this, is that we talk about this all the time as brothers. We always talk about this stuff. We think about this thing critically and think, okay, what does everybody else think, right? Give us your thoughts. Agree or disagree with this 100%.
Yeah.
Tell us we suck. Tell us we don't know what we're talking about. That's fine. Great.
That's fine.
At the end of the day, guys, it's a sport. It's the number one sport in the world, right? It's they make so much money. I mean, not compared to maybe it's like Premier Soccer, right? Globally.
Yeah.
But in America, it's the number one sport, and so there is money changing hands, and it's one of those thoughts you have to sit back and think about. Okay, fine, where's this really going?
Yep. So
even to just say historically in sports, where has cheating happened to be able to favor or not favor a team?
Yeah.
And so one thing that comes to and you go to like Pete Rose betting on games as a head coach. You could even go to, I think it's 2003 Lakers Kings series,
I remember
Western Conference Finals, where basically Kings were up 3-1, I believe, in that series.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to win. All of a sudden, the Kings kept having a lot of penalties against them, basically favoring the Lakers. Years later, after that ref that was the head ref for that game was caught betting on that series.
Oh,
and what he was doing, he was shifting the game for him to win money.
Oh my God!
And so those are things that you got to think a lot about. Now, once again, I'm wearing a tinfoil hat here, and am I a conspiracy theorist? I mean, but I mean, there are examples out there that are people shifting a game's momentum and the outcome of a game. Yeah. And once again, dude, SoFi is the most expensive stadium in the world.
It's ridiculous.
Probably the most elaborate stadium in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most amazing stadium out there. I mean, spending $5 billion is no chump change, by the way. I think they were talking about, I live in Arizona, and I think the stadium that was built here for the Cardinals was considered as one of the most expensive, and I think that was $400 million when that one got done.
Crazy.
And so
that is
big difference.
Huge
$5
difference.
billion, $4 billion. Or excuse me, 400 million, $5 billion.
Yeah, that's a big number difference.
Yeah. So
get them
massive.
Bitcoins right. Get the Bitcoins right.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say this.
I'm getting receptors here, dude. The aliens are talking to me, dude. They're trying to get to me.
Can't get in their brain, bro.
They can't get in your brain. Well, the other thing that I was gonna say is this. Obviously, we know obviously how much the stadium was and things like that, But you brought up a good point, though, Andy, is that football is the number one sport here in America. And because of that, the Super Bowl is the biggest event in sports itself. I have heard commentators even calling the Super Bowl the greatest stage in the world. Because and the NFL is registered as an entertainment company, not a sports education, not just solely a sports league. Because of that, TV ratings are 100% important on this situation. And the last, since 2017, actually, no, let's go back. Since 2012, ratings have been steadily going down for the viewership of the Super Bowl. And as we know, that commercials are like a huge part of the Super Bowl. Like, they're paying for so much ad time for those things, and the NFL needs to make sure that the Super Bowl itself is sensational, and that enough more eyes are actually going to watch it. But it's just not happening. It just keeps going down and down and down. And they're just trying to find ways to get more people to watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so by that, that's why I was piecing other things together, like outside of the game itself. We had was it the Rams Hall of Famer quarterback?
Kurt Warner.
Yeah, Kurt Warner. Well, So that was the big thing, is that he has his movie come out this year about his story about his journey and his Super Bowl run. Just a couple of weeks ago, but it was literally, I think it was released in December, at least here in LA, I think it actually was released worldwide by January. I haven't watched it. I do actually really want to watch it because I think it's a pretty cool. It's fun to watch football movies for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And so he had that, and like it's obviously last year we had a home game with the Tampa Bay, so and Tom Brady going there just to make that happen, sure that happened. So they kind of conditioned us already to realize that hey, home games for Super Bowls are possible, and look at Tom Brady, he did it. So guess what? Oh, the Rams did it again. Oh, nothing's out of the ordinary here. You know, it happened before. It can happen again. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like these things just don't like these little things just don't add up. Like when you really just like think about it, you know.
And think about things specifically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I want to tell you a funny conspiracy theory my buddy has always had.
Yeah.
The WWE, Vince McMahon, he's behind the scenes. Orchestrating an amazing championship and giving us the entertainment that we always want, right? And that's what Americans want to see.
Right.
And honestly, there's something to be said about that. Right?
Yeah.
I promise you, the NFL wanted the Rams to win that game.
Yeah.
I promise you. They did not want the Bengals to win. And that's sad.
Yeah.
Because they're a great team.
Yeah.
But they were probably going to be the punching dummy for that Super Bowl.
Yep.
And you had Vince McMahon pulling the strings.
Mm-hmm.
You had The Rock coming out and fighting the Undertaker and whatever. Oh, let's make it exciting. Hit him with a chair or two. Yeah. Do a DDT or whatever the hell you want to call those stupid moves that they do.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
It is 100%.
You know, and again, you even brought this up, James. The day after, what happened to the Hollywood sign? Actually, Kyle, what happened to the Hollywood sign?
It became into Rams House.
Rams House. They covered Hollywood's house, and it said Rams House.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Like, the biggest thing about that is, like, dude, the Hollywood sign is a historical monument. Like, making sure, doing something like that takes a lot of red tape and a lot of planning and a lot of, like, foresight into that. Now, granted, I've talked about this with some of my buddies at work. Granted, they could have actually just signed all those documents and dotted all their I's and slashed all their T's to make that happen for the day that it does happen.
Sure.
Earlier, whatever. But, I mean, come on, man. You can't just like, bam, like that, you know? Like, it was just there. Like, it seems seemingly just immediately red tape or do not pass go straight to, Rams House.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
You know, and I mean, LA does everything pretty big too. So, I mean, they love to be able to do those extras too. And, you know, it makes me think a lot about, and I'm going to say it as it's going to happen, when the Chargers win a Super Bowl for LA, or as the Chargers, what are they going to do with the Chargers when they win the Super Bowl? Like, where are they going to do their parade? Where are they going to do those extra things like, you know, put like bolt up Chargers on the Hollywood sign? That's probably way too long, but what are they going to do? You know, like, what are they going to do? Are they going to do all those things?
Right.
Like, and I mean, it was interesting about the Rams parade. It was only 1.1 miles right around USC area, which then ended in the Coliseum where they initially started playing again in LA.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was, to be honest, I mean, looking at the amount of fans there, you start thinking, man, there wasn't a lot of fans there really at all. I remember seeing a picture of when the Rams won the Super Bowl in St. Louis and what the crowd looked like. It looked like a dang Coachella, going on there. There was tons of people there. Yeah. And then when it was here, it was like, I don't know, you were seeing a couple local acts there basically on the stage.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, you know, big headlining kind of, bands. But the thing is, though, there's a lot of things that line up with this that you think like, it's a little strange. Who knows where we're really, if it was bought or not. But once again, it is entertainment, right? Yeah. That's what this all is. Purely entertainment. And the NFL does have the control to be able to entertain us. There was a lot of games, even regular season games. I mean, I'm forever and ever and ever. Well, I'll say Chargers are one of the most entertaining teams
were amazing last year.
Yeah.
They were incredible last year.
So good.
But it is a heart attack for the fans. And it very, very entertaining games. Almost every single game was very entertaining. The playoffs were extremely entertaining every single game, which you don't really see that a lot in a lot of like playoffs where it's that competitive. And now, once again, if we're just here to create entertainment, they have the way to control entertainment and the control an outcome of a game. And so, I mean, there's little things we could think about. And as maybe we're a little bit jaded as Charger fans, you know, I'll say that. I mean, there's probably a great chance of that. But there's a lot of little things that do line up that things could have been bought and been done to be able to favor the Rams.
Agreed.
Yeah. I guess just my last point, though, 100% you're right on that, because it's not just the NFL that has this problem too, though, you know, because there's like I think probably one of the most historical problems with that was in a soccer match for the championship, and it's called actually the Hand of God, where like it was two South American teams were playing against each other, and the game-winning goal was clearly it was like a jump ball, and like they went for it with their heads, but the guy hit it clearly with his hand, and it went in, and it was a no call. So, and for who knows why that the ref didn't call it. Maybe it was because he was betting on the game too. But I think this really just means to me that, like, and this will probably never happen, but they really need to allow refs' calls to be challenged. You know,
Agreed.
1,000%.
I really think they should. I think that's a really great point. And again,
so like one example that we're just thinking about with like cheating within a sports league. I mean, recently for us, if you follow baseball, Houston Astros, when they tinfoil hat's gone. See you, boys.
All right. So long, boys.
You get boy.
Hang loose, brother. Hang loose.
Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah.
But I was going to bring up the Houston Astros when they won the World Series. I mean, they basically got caught cheating and you know, seeing calls for what pitches the pitchers are throwing, basically communicating with the batter and everything.
Yeah.
Still won a World Series. Did Major League Baseball do anything to be able to help or to punish them? No.
Nope.
Like, my opinion, what should have happened is that they should have been suspended a full year of baseball, got the World Series stripped from them, and called it just basically a washed year for the World Series.
A gap year.
But they didn't want a black eye on their league. And once again, going back on ratings too, Major League Baseball has been struggling for ratings. And it's because it's a very, very long season. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough. I mean, NFL is king here in America, and it's always probably going to be that way. But no league wants to be able to take fault for something like that and put a black eye on their league. And that's just something that you have to think about as another example out there for cheating. And you know, maybe even a league decided to kind of let that happen still. All right, we'll be fine. They could win a World Series based upon that. We're fine with that. But there's examples out there, guys. I mean, we've talked about baseball a couple times, talked about basketball, talked about soccer. I mean, there's a lot of examples out there for a lot of different issues within leagues and how a league can be decided and pushed around really easily. So, hey, maybe the Rams did buy a Super Bowl. Good for them. Yeah. Good for them.
I do actually have another thought that just reminded me. I wonder if the example you just brought up reminded me exactly of Lance Armstrong. Because he won the Tour de France 7 years in a row or whatever, and then was it 10 years or so later after he was already retired, they did a investigation and they found out that he 100% was blood doping, and they did strip him of all of his championships, and they made those all gap years. And so yes, he won those, but history won't remember it, because it'll years down the line they'll be like, oh, why was there a gap year for 7 straight years? Yeah. And then they'll look up and because this guy cheated and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm wondering if the reason why the baseball didn't do anything and the NFL won't do anything, NBA probably won't do, any of these leagues won't do anything, is because of what happened to the Tour de France and how tarnished their reputation is now by doing that to Lance Armstrong. That's just a thought that I had on that right there. I mean, I don't know.
You know, when you think about that Russian gal in the Olympics, it just happened recently.
Yeah.
Doping.
Yeah.
3 different, illegal substances in her body, and she blamed it on, it's my grandpa's medicine. How is that even possible?
Yeah.
Right? You know, what are we talking about here? Like, it's ridiculous. And so I guess, you know, again, it kind of comes back in my mind when I think about Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, by the way.
That's right.
His name.
That's his
Tom
name.
Shady.
Yep.
Bill Belichick and Tom Shady. If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
And Robert Cornhole.
Right.
And Robert Cornhole.
Robert Cornhole.
We all grew up with this movie, right? Remember Spaceballs? The search for money.
Yes.
The search for money. You remember that?
Yep.
Spaceballs, the merchandise. Spaceballs, this and that. I think it boils down to money, guys, right? And bottom line, ratings were going down the toilet.
Yep.
They saw an opportunity. Let's give the home team a win. They spent $5 billion on the stadium. You know, it's something to think about. Now, again, disagree with us, guys.
Yeah.
People can say, hey, you guys are crazy, you guys are idiots, whatever, fine. We want to hear your comments.
Yeah.
And we want to have a discussion with you guys. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, people want to be entertained, and sometimes they don't care where that entertainment comes from.
Yep.
Right? They just want to be entertained.
Yep.
It's a jaded view. We understand that, but it's something that should be discussed.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, guys, that's my thoughts. And, you know, give us your thoughts at the end of the video. Agree, disagree, like and subscribe. We love you. Go Chargers.
Both
Hold
bros.
up, baby.
Both up.